Well, I wish I could tell you I knew what was going on with me completely because I really don't. It's beyond my comprehension, beyond probably anybody's comprehension. I understand what's going on with me more than probably anybody, and I wish I knew exactly what was going on. All I can tell you is what I do know is going on with me and things I'm experiencing as of today in the past 20 years. And maybe somebody out there will help me discover exactly what's going on. Um, it's a lot for one person to handle all of it by themselves, like I have been for the past 20 years. I'll take you back 20 years when it first started. I mentioned in my video Satan's introduction into my life, the first video. I actually deleted the two before that I mentioned in the Satan's introduction to my life video. That I had two videos previous to that. They didn't. They weren't suitable, I guess. I was an amateur, I guess you could say, and I'm still an amateur, but I'm getting a little bit more used to talking in front of the camera. So anyway, 20 years ago, I was still married. I had 3 children, twin boys and a daughter, Sarah, Blake, and Aaron. Life was so crazy for me. I was bedridden, as I mentioned in my video. I couldn't take care of my kids. They were running amok. My boys were getting into mischief left and right. I couldn't do anything about it. I felt like I had muscles as wet sandbags that I was legging around, and it was exhausting for me to even stand in one place. So literally, I was bedridden. This particular day that I'm telling you about 20 years ago, I was standing in my bedroom. My husband was at work and my kids were at school. And I had this overwhelming feeling that I had to get an answer from God. Then and there, I was done. I couldn't take it anymore. All throughout my life, I'm not going to go into my childhood and blah blah. It was a fucked up childhood. I had a lot of things going on. I've suffered just about anything painful a person can go through up until this 20 years ago. So I was broken. Having had all those things go on in my life, and then ended up with a physical disability, I just couldn't take life anymore. I used to lay in bed thinking how I just wanted to float away into nothingness. I didn't want anything, any existence anymore. I was so exhausted and done. But this day, I was standing in my room with a robe on and pajamas, probably, I don't know. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. And I had this sensation of desperation come over me. I knew I had to reach God. I had to have answers, and I had to get healed somehow. I didn't know anything to do. Oh God, basically the doctors were at a loss as far as to help me, except for medications and blah blah. So I used to journal up before this day came to try to talk to God to heal me and try to understand why it was going on. I always had this understanding everything happens in the way it's supposed to, and that God has a reason for it. Doesn't mean I don't get pissed at him, and I was, that I wasn't pissed at him. I was, because I didn't understand it. So anyway, this sensation grew, and I felt it was almost like my soul vibrating inside me, just like, just like, oh my God, and it just like kept vibrating more and more, and I just found myself dropping to my knees, raising my hands in the air, flying them up into the air, and yelling, God, make me your brightest angel. And I don't know why I said what I said, brightest angel. I never thought of myself as an angel. But I said that day. And immediately after I said that, this powerful energy entered me. It's spiritual energy, and I really, honestly, I can't say exactly that I know what it was. I feel it was God's energy, and I feel like he began talking to me in my mind, like thoughts. You know how thoughts come into your mind, or you have dialect in your head when you're thinking? That's exactly what God's voice sounded to me. Only it was directions he was giving me. And I call God a he. You can call God however you want. We all have a different relationship with him. He, she, it, whatever. But anyway, I heard in my head, get on your feet. So I did. I stood on my feet. I knew something was going on, and I was hoping to God it's because he was healing me. So I followed direction, and I stood on my feet, and I heard in my head, go lay on your bed. So I went and I laid down on my bed, and I was waiting for more direction. But instead, I felt this overwhelming sensation of emotional pain take over in the pit of my stomach. It's a feeling that I denied all my life, that I deserved to feel, because all my life I had gone through so much pain, but I detached. I learned how to detach from all those emotions, and I felt like a fucking robot, going through the motions all my life. I lost my personality. I saw things through drugs. I thought the video stopped. I saw it through relief, drugs, and alcohol at a very young age. Obviously, it wasn't the answer, but it gave me a head change, and it made me feel better at the time. Kind of a little bubble of euphoria and a different reality that I needed and craved. Obviously, it caused a lot of problems in my life. Drugs and alcohol are not the answer for, making your life better. It's definitely not the answer. And so anyway, and that emotional pain grew so intense that the next thing I realized, all I could do was yell out. Just like an agonizing sound came out of my voice, from my voice. It sounded like an animal was trapped or dying, and it was a horrible sound, but that's how much pain it was. It was just like it took over. And I briefly thought, oh my God, my neighbors are going to hear this. And then it's like God told me someday they'll know why. Maybe this is, through telling my story on YouTube, that this is the way you guys will know why. Hopefully my neighbors will see this and know why things were so sporadic and weird in my house. And actually, for that matter, the whole town of Philomath, and where I lived at the time. Anyway, so the yelling subsided and the pain dissipated from yelling it all out. And I felt like a light as a feather. And I felt like, oh my God, I feel so good. Oh my God. And I smiled. And the next thing I know, I was laughing. And then the next thing I knew, I was laughing hysterically. I mean, it just like I felt free, and I thought it was all over. I knew God was healing me. And all of a sudden, the laughter stopped because the pain came back. So anyway, that alternated back and forth for I don't know how long. It probably at least 4 times a piece, the yelling and then the laughter. The time got away from me. I don't know. I didn't keep track of time, obviously. I was going through an awakening that was huge. I've heard of other people's awakenings that are unsurmountably big, and I get that the people that haven't gone through these are probably like very hesitant to believe it's happened, and that we're just cuckoo about it. But I'm here to tell you this is a very real experience. So anyway, I found myself later that day. I remember wanting to take a shower because literally I couldn't even take showers that often because it was so exhausting for me. And I was still exhausted, but I had this sense of euphoria and hope that came over me. And So I got into the shower and I couldn't stand in there, but I could sit. And so I sat in the shower and I felt like it was just rain, warm rain coming all over me. And it just was like washing away all that pain that I had. And I was looking down and all of a sudden a river of blood came down, going down to the drain. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm bleeding vaginally. And I wasn't due for a period. I don't have periods that are early or late. I've never have, and it was the only time in my life that it has happened. So something so intense spiritually was happening that something physically was happening as well. I had a lot of things happen that day. I'll just tell a couple more so you guys get the idea. I was in my living room and I was naked because I was like, I felt my inhibitions went away and I didn't feel shame for my nakedness. It was like, I don't need a robe to cover up. I don't care. We're born naked. It's like, it's a body. I mean, it's just like I totally had a transformation in the way I was thinking. So anyway, I was in the living room and I heard my voice, fall back and I'll catch you. And I smiled a little and I thought, well, everything else that's been going on is very real and I'm going to do it. So I stood up straight as a board and I started to fall back and I caught myself. And I thought, wait a minute. I ain't going to do this because I need to prove that I trust in whoever is doing this, which I believed it was God, will catch me. So I went ahead and stood up straight as a board again. And I let myself fall backwards without even budging any of my body other than just staying straight as a board, and I fell back. And all I did was like boom, 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 like bounce a little. It didn't jar me, it didn't hurt. It was crazy. And so I started laughing with that because it was so magical. I remember looking at water too, like I saw it for the first time. The water was just, it was the substance was just entrancing me. It was like, it was glistening, yet it was see-through, and it held itself together, and it pooled, and it was just, it was like, and then I would look at the trees, and it was like I'd see this energy all around them. It's like a light and energy field was surrounding all life, and I would be twirling around in circles. It felt like there were entities twirling me and laughing with me. Maybe, who knows, they're angels, or I don't know, but it was very real. I ended up calling my husband during this period and letting him know what was going on. I didn't sound like myself. I sounded like someone he's never heard before. I wasn't Pam anymore. This particular after this happened. I kind of understand now that this is when Trinity began to come into play in my life as far as who I have become. And I'm not always Trinity. I still fall into the Pam role at times, but Trinity is definitely who I am at other times. So anyway, my husband got alarmed enough to where he ended up turning around from where he was going and came home to see what was going on with me. And by the time he came, I was laying on the floor naked, and I couldn't budge because I pushed myself so hard, walking around, twirling around, taking a shower, all this stuff, and it's like I couldn't move. And so he thought I overdosed on my pain meds, so he called the ambulance. I was mortified because I knew I wasn't dying. I was healing, and I couldn't even talk. I couldn't even say, no, I'm okay. I wanted so bad to yell it, and I couldn't even say it. So anyway, not long after that, the ambulance showed up. Sorry, I'm standing on my glasses or stepping on them. The ambulance paramedics showed up, and they came into my room, and all I could do was have a little smile to my mouth just to try to tell him I'm okay. It's like my head was yelling, I'm okay, don't touch me, don't get me here, don't take me anywhere, I'm okay, I just want to sleep for 2 weeks. I just wanted to sleep for 2 weeks and let it all slough off and just be okay after that. But it didn't work out that way. I got put on a gurney. I got quickly taken to the mental hospital, and that was my first trip. It was awful for me. It was so awful because I knew what happened to me was very real. And to be told I was delusional and given a diagnosis of being bipolar and that I was delusional, like I said, was it was it was not heartbreaking, it was devastating. I went home 3 days later and I looked at the pills and I dumped them out. I don't need these pills. That's not what's going on with me. So anyway, I detached from my spiritual life that day, though, and I was afraid of it because of what happened, that I ended up in a psych ward. So I wanted it though at the same time because I was so elated when I was in that mode, and so joyful and hopeful and connected to the universe, to God, that I just it was hard. So anyway, back to the story when I got divorced and I moved into my house. I'll just ask for you guys to watch my other video, and that will take you up to par with some of the things. I don't want to repeat all of the other things I just did. I really can't do the story in one fell swoop either because it's a lot to take in, and I don't want to overload and overwhelm people that are trying to watch this and follow me with the story that I'm sharing. So I'll tell some things that happened. When I was in the house after my divorce in my own home, I was back in touch with the spirit realm. I believe that, well, like I said in the mention in the video, I'll just bring up the meth again. That's what brought me back into that spirit realm. But mostly it brought me into Satan's world, as far as wanting to know everything about him. I didn't worship Satan. I wasn't a Satanist. I didn't sacrifice things. I wasn't anything like that. It's like I grew this relationship with him, and it's like I had empathy for him, that he was put in a role that God created for him to be in, and that he was the fall guy, and he was always going to be the bad guy, and it just, I would stick up for him. Anyway, I started raging at God about this. I didn't feel worthy to be with God or Jesus. I knew that I was a big sinner, and I liked that world of sin ever since I was a little girl. It's the only thing I knew that brought me happiness. I didn't believe God's world would be fun and make me feel alive and give me that sense of euphoria that I do have today without drugs and alcohol. But back then, I never felt that before when I was away from drugs and alcohol. I only got severely depressed when I didn't have anything to give me a head change, because I didn't know how to live life. So anyway, I was yelling this particular day, and the music, like I mentioned, they use it. The higher powers use the music. I was yelling at Jesus this particular day, Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect must be nice to be Mr. Perfect, and blah, blah. I don't remember what I said, but I was just yelling at him. I was so angry that I can't be like you. I want to be like you because I wanted to love him, and I knew him. I was getting to know him, but I didn't feel like I could ever be with him because I was not worthy. And then the music changed to a different song as I was yelling Mr. Perfect to the Ubastink song saying, I'm not a perfect person. I'm not going to sing it because I have a horrible singing voice, but I'm not a perfect person. I never meant to do those things to you. There's, in all the pain I put you through, I wish I could make it go away. And anyway, that song came on. I fell to my knees and I just started sobbing because he was reaching to me directly through the song, telling me and showing me he was someone that I never knew he was. That he isn't a perfect person. And he was revealing himself to me in a way I needed to know him. So that helped me a lot, but it wasn't enough to take me away from Satan too. I would vacillate, believing I had to choose one or the other, and I couldn't have both worlds with me. As I mentioned in that one video, Satan's introduction into my life, I wanted both of them. So when I would go to the one of them, Jesus, I would miss Satan. And then I'd go to Satan, and then I would miss Jesus. And then I had to just understand that why can't I have both and both? I loved both of them for different reasons. They both had something to offer me. And I wanted to be fulfilled. I believe I was given this life to be happy. And I see that that is what God wants for me now, is for me to be happy. So when I started saying, just share me, knock it off, quit fighting, and the songs, like I mentioned, started harmonizing, and it's like the fighting ceased. And songs with the men's songs, when it was their turn to use the music, a lot of I'm getting down on my knees, she's brought me to my knees, a lot of those songs started coming on. Once when I did turn to Satan, and actually married him, I wasn't going to get into all that, but I did marry Satan at one point. I was just done with, like I said, I believe that was before the time when Jesus revealed himself to me, though. Things are blurry for me because so much happened. It was so eventful every day. So I can only, say memories, and I can't put them into sequence quite right, but good enough. So anyway, I being married to Satan. Oh, what was I getting to? Oh, okay. So I ended up getting a charge for telephonic harassment because I would call my ex-husband, who was not the best husband. I'm not going to get into details about it because knowing him, he would probably do defamation of character on me and put me in jail or give me a charge for that. So I'm not going to get into details of the marriage, but it made me enough to where I lashed out at him every time I would hit this peak mania. It was usually when I was on the drugs or alcohol. Memories would come surfing in my mind of the things that happened between us, and I would call him, and once, I'm going to tell you what I said, and it's not very, very nice. It's pretty alarming, actually, but it just came out of my mouth. I said, he answered, and I go, listen, bitch, I'm going to send Satan over there to suck your soul down to hell and butt fuck you 24/7. I think that scared him. You know why? Because the next day, my boys came over, and they're like, Mom, what'd you say to Dad last night? He couldn't sleep. And I just laughed wickedly. To me, that was vengeance at its best. That was sweet revenge to me. So I started getting kind of antisocial during this period. I started seeing as like humans for the first time and realizing how fucking sick they can get and be towards each other and me. I couldn't understand why can they be so cruel? They're so dysfunctional and just sick. I'm not saying I was perfect, but I was definitely on the brunt end of being abused and neglected and blah blah to be the bearer of the brunt of the abuse, because I wasn't the type that gave it out. I would internalize it and I would beat myself up instead. I didn't take it out on people, and like so many do, and it's like, stop taking your pain out on other people. It's not okay. Um, anyway, after I was in jail, I was in there, I don't even know how long, about 3 months probably, and I was I was married to Satan still, and I said one day, I like thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute, if he's Mr. Powerful and can do things, he could probably have a way of getting me out of jail, and he's not doing it. So I was pissed at him, letting me sit in jail and not even caring is where my mind went about it. So I divorced him while I was in jail, and I got this very deep depression that started when I felt like this energy left me, and I felt very detached from life again. I didn't feel like that person that I was becoming, that I liked a lot, which was a very strong, confident person. I got into that old role where I was a doormat. I wasn't worth shit. I had no self-worth, self-esteem, nothing. And anyway, the police for some reason drove me home from a different town into my home, where my house was after my divorce that I purchased. They usually don't drive you home. Normally they let you out with barely any of your belongings sometimes and say find where you can go, or get to your place somehow. We don't care. Hitchhike or whatever you got to do to get there. But they gave me a ride this particular time. In the car, I felt like I was leaning over, and I felt like really heavy, and I couldn't understand what was going on with me. When I got out of the car after they dropped me off, I was like, it was difficult for me to walk to my front door. The energy just seemed heavier on me. And so when I got into the house, I sat down, and I was like literally leaning over, and I couldn't, it was just like overpowering me. And I didn't connect it to being Satan, but at the same time, I thought maybe it was him. I thought more than likely it was him. And so I thought I better write a letter to him and try to communicate. So I did, and my breathing was starting to get labored and everything. And so I went in to my room, and I laid on my bed, and I was just trying to let it go, dissipate, for me to start breathing, and for him to leave me alone and not be stifling me like he was. But instead, my breathing got labored even more, and I couldn't, it's like before my last breath was taken, and I'm not being dramatic, this is seriously true, exactly what was going on. I felt like my last breath finally was coming, and I said Satan's name out loud. And all of a sudden, this energy, right after I said it, entered, and then boom, 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 and it's like radiating this love. It felt like this heat and passion and love and safety and warmth, all just pumping in me. But as soon as this entered, a limb snapped off a tree and hit my window. So simultaneously it entered me, but then the wind started blowing, and enough for a limb to snap off and hit my window. And the wind was just howling away as I was feeling this pulsing in me. Like I said, I can't understand what all that meant still to this day, but I do know it's because something majorly spiritual was going on with me. I know enough now to what's going on today that the universe is using me, like I've shared in that other video. I know I've been put through the ringer all my life to be okay one day and to be able to help other people be okay. I understand the human condition in anything you can go through in life. I mean, nothing is going to shock me. I've been through abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, homelessness, institutionalized, jailed, abortion, alcoholism, addiction. I don't know, probably other things. Anyway, so you get the idea. I was a very sick individual. And as of today, though, I've been clean and sober over 13 years, with the exception of 3 years ago, I had one night of a relapse. And that ended up putting me back into an institution. Um, as of today, I am not institutionalized, but I am. I'm still in the system because of what happened 13 years ago, and I'll deal with that telling you later about all that because that's another whole story. But today I have a relationship with the spirit realm now, but I don't understand completely why. I do have moments of where I think I know, and I believe it's because they're using me to be a very big, um, just I don't know how to explain it, but to be very powerful in this world to help people and to get this world to see clearly things that I finally see clearly, and that now I live in a state of paradise most of the time. Life happens, and today is one of those days for me. And that's why I feel like it's necessary for me to tell my story as I go as well, because I don't have all the answers either, and I don't want to claim I do. And like I said, maybe someone out there can help me. And definitely you can go on a roller coaster ride with me as we go. So anyway, I guess I'll stop there. And just definitely subscribe. It's not because I want to get a lot of subscribes. I mean, sure, that's great. But because what I'm telling you is extremely important for everybody to know about. It's like, if you're not a believer, I think maybe with hearing all my story, you might become a believer, or at least wonder, and I'm not saying that I'm gonna make everybody believe, because it's up to each individual. We are given choice, and that's the beauty of it. It's like we have choice. Um, so anyway, in closing, I know I probably leave a lot of people pondering a lot of things, and probably leave you guys speechless. But it would really benefit me if you could comment or like or dislike, just to give me some kind of feedback, so I understand how you guys are all receiving me and my story, because I need to be encouraged to keep going with this. I want to cry right now because I've been through so much. I don't want to give up. I want to keep going with all this, and I've sacrificed my entire existence for this. I, I've lost everybody in my life. I've started a new family. I have a lot of friends that are closer to me than my family was. My daughter's still in my life. Thank God, she's amazing. My sons chose to not be in my life. I was too much for them. They never took the time to understand the way my daughter has, and I understand why. I don't blame them. I feel bad for what they've been through because they had to go to hell with me. But I just wish I could make it up, to them in the sense that I can help them get out of hell too. Because I know I could. I hope they don't mind I mentioned that to them. I love them, so I just, it's hard. But anyway, I just want to know I didn't do this all in vain. I want to know I did this because it's for a bigger purpose and it's not just for me. That's going to make me happy. That's going to make it all worth it. Going to hell for this world. One song that just triggered is when I was falling in love with Satan before the jail time when I divorced him. The song Dido song came on. I'll put I'll go down with the ship. I won't put up my white flag and surrender. I'm in love and always will be. I know that song signaled to God that he lost and that if that it's over and I'm done and I'll go to hell with Satan. And I actually did tell him even at one point, if that's what it takes to make our world paradise in our new world, then send me to hell. Get this over with. Get the battle done. I'm done with it. It's exhausting. I'm so tired of it all. But as of now, he hasn't ditched me, and I'm still alive. I don't know if he's going to keep me that way. Who knows? I know I have right here, right now, and all I can do is my best. That's all any of us can do is our best with what we've been given. And I do know I can be of an asset to this world. I know I can help so many people. There's a lot of things in our mind that just need not even have to be there, that we put so much stock and effort into having in our head. It's all an illusion. Fear. The fear in our mind is an illusion. And once we realize that and how to overcome it, we're free. And that's what I want. I want everybody in this world to be free. We've all hurt. We've all suffered. We still are. And it's unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. We don't have to hurt. We don't have to suffer anymore. It's choice. It's a choice. So I'm desperate about this. My passion is this, what I'm sharing. It's why I'm on this planet. I don't have another reason for being here right now. So, with that being said, I don't even want to stop talking, but I'm going to. I just want to plead to you guys that, give me a chance to help you. Ask questions. Comment if you think I've got some, bullshit that I'm saying. Voice that. Confront me on anything and give me a chance to have an answer or explain myself. And I do, like I said, admit I don't know. I don't know everything what's going on with me either. So I don't expect anyone else out there to either. But maybe some of you have an idea that you could share with me, like, about being with the spirit realm now. I'm not with a human relationship anymore. And I just wish I could understand it today. I'm at just like I said, a place where I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm angry at the spirit realm because I feel like a toy to them sometimes. I don't feel like they respect me very much at times, and I do deserve respect. But I know it's earned, but I feel like I have earned the respect, and I don't get it all the time. But anyway, it's all for a reason, and life isn't always peachy keen and paradise for anybody. But I wouldn't trade my world for anybody or anything. I am very blessed, but like I said, frustrated today. So, with that being said, please like, dislike, comment, and definitely subscribe because there's a lot more to say, a lot more miracles that have happened in my life. There's some really funny stories that have happened, some really tragic stories. But it's been a wild ride. Taking Ozzy's crazy train has not been an easy route. But that's what I did. I took Ozzy Osbourne's crazy train. Thank you, Ozzy. Hey, hey. Sharon! Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty funny. Seeing your show calling out Sharon, you're quite a character, Ozzy. But thank you for the song. Thanks for being a fallen angel and sacrificing your life for that. I could go on and on with thanking the other angels that are the musicians, but we'll save that for another time. All right. Well, thanks.